Yeah, 10 years ago you couldn't do this, and now
I think they even make a little remote for that camera.
they probably do. I got this for $250 at Best Buy on Black Friday. I mean, they practically gave it to me. You know, I was like, I can't.
You weren't like, hey, can you also throw in a remote?
This was $25. I mean, it was just, I really, and I got it about like 3 years ago, but it works like a charm.
I love it.
All right, so we'll talk here. So first I'll look into the camera,
Yep.
And then we'll introduce you, and then we'll just go, then you and I will talk. Are you okay? Can
Yeah,
you see?
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Hey guys, Brian Hilliard here, author of the best-selling book, Networking Like a Pro, and How to Overachieve Without Overcommitting. And I am here with Howard Partridge, who is the CEO and owner of Phenomenal Products. Thanks so much for coming out, Howard.
You bet, Brian. Good
Awesome.
to be here.
Awesome,
Thank
awesome,
you for
awesome.
coming out.
Yeah, actually, we are in Howard's office here in the Houston area, and this is some really good stuff. You know, one of the things you and I met probably about 2 or 3 years ago through Gail Stolzenberg,
Yeah.
and one of the points that, you know, I really took away from you and your business is that you're all about systems.
Yes.
I mean, you are all about systems.
Definitely.
You are all about processes. I guess my first question for, I think, some of the folks who are listening here is, tell us a little bit about some of the systems and processes that you have in place. I mean, obviously, we don't want the Coke formula. We understand that.
Right.
But give us a little bit of a feel. We've got entrepreneurs here who are really trying to figure some stuff out. Give us a feel, and I know you coach on this. You do clients and stuff like that. Give us a little feel as to what that looks like in terms of systems that either you talk about or you have implemented in your own business.
Sure. So I work mainly with small business owners, and of course I started my first business out of the trunk of my car almost 33 years ago.
Right.
And I've been helping small business owners for about 2 decades now. And the number one reason, the reason I love what you're doing here is the number one reason that small businesses don't grow or do as well as they could is something that I call FTI.
Okay.
Failure to implement.
Yeah, right.
And so one of the things that I did as a business owner or as a busy professional, doesn't matter who you are, that was very helpful to me is I have what I call a daily time capsule. Now someone might call that quiet time.
Right.
They might call it, Gary Keller calls it strategic thought time.
Okay.
And I do it early in the morning. So I get up early and I have a block of time. I started out years ago with about an hour.
Okay.
And so now I have a lot of projects, a lot of stuff to get done. So I have a lot of working on the business to do and writing books and things like that. So I have to have a lot of quiet time to work on those projects. So what I did is and I talk about this in one of my books called Think and Be Phenomenal. I have a personal organizational system that it revolves around that daily time capsule where I work my action folder, I work on my projects, and I do all of that before I get out into the fray.
Listen to you. I love that. I love that because I think a lot of times where, in my opinion, I haven't been doing this as long as you have, but I've been doing this since 2001 myself. And I think where entrepreneurs mess up is they love jumping into email.
Yeah.
You know, I've talked about that before.
Yeah.
They love getting up and they love jumping in and clackety clack clack clack, and 90 minutes comes up and they look up and they really haven't done anything that's important to them. You know, you mentioned Gary Keller. I'm assuming you're implying the One Thing, the book.
The One Thing is revolutionary. It's
my gosh.
Yeah,
it totally is. And if you guys haven't read it, I would recommend that you look it up. It's Gary Keller, The One Thing, Amazon. 80% of your results are going to come from 20% of your efforts. Not a new concept, but a new way of positioning it. How do you determine what falls into that 80%? Like, you've got a big business. You know, you do quarterly events. You had me speak, which was really nice. You do business. You coach. You're flying out later on today. How do you figure out what is the 80%? You know, the important thing that's going to get you 80% of your results?
Yeah. So in this book here, The 5 Secrets of a Phenomenal Business.
Oh, give them a little look. Don't give it. There you go.
It's really about
there you go.
the 5 systems, really. Michael Gerber, who's a friend of mine and one of my mentors, said that the secret is the system, the question is why.
Oh, I love that. The secret is the system, the question is why.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the one and only reason that your business exists is to be a vehicle to help you achieve your life goals.
Right.
So we have to have systems in our business, and one of the key things that I talk about in this book here is to have an org chart, right? So if you look at all the parts of a business, and there's really 3 levels of of leadership, or if you will. The first level is just implementation, actually doing the work. But everybody in the company has to be a leader.
Understand.
But so there's implementation, then there's management, and then there's directing. And the directing is the working on the business. So it ends up being about 12 different hats that you wear.
Right.
And so the key is to start getting other people, either hire people or outsource different functions of your business as you grow in revenue.
Right.
So the only thing that's on my job description, if you will, are the things that are strategic.
Okay.
Right? So I write, I think, I plan, I build strategic relationships. I do things like this.
Right.
That's all I do.
Right.
And so I built a team and systems and put those in place to do everything else.
You know, one of the things, Howard, that I love, because I want to get into this with you too. A lot of people, one of the things that we talk about is a delegation mindset. I'm actually going to be speaking about that a little bit later on with James Cooper. And the idea of, what I personally talk about is either automate, delegate, or eliminate.
Love it.
That's what I say. I'm like, listen, you need to either make it so that it's completely do it by itself, and I'm open to a streamlined conversation too under that bucket. You're either giving it to somebody else, or it's out the airlock, is what I call it. Okay? And, one of the things that people ask me all the time, you have at least a half a dozen people that I know of that are working for you. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less.
I have 40 team members.
Okay. So that goes on. At least a half a dozen. I'm still technically correct, though, right?
This is just one of our offices, I'm
still technically correct. Give me a little credit. There we go.
Technically correct. On my phenomenal products team, you're exactly right.
There you go. Thank you.
Exactly. You got it right now. I have a whole other business.
Okay. Actually, I didn't know that. So you've got a lot of people working for you. And one of the things people ask me, they ask me two questions. I don't know where I can delegate. Question number one, because I don't have, I'm just myself. And number two is, where or how or when do I determine is the best time for me to start delegating? So maybe one or two of those questions, how would you address those?
So when you get my book, the place to start with me if you want to learn my stuff is truly with this book. It's on Audible also. And but you got to get the print version really to see like the org chart. So what you do is you start at the bottom row on the org chart. So there's the 5 systems are leadership, marketing, sales, service, and tracking. Right? So on the bottom, tracking, that's bookkeeping, data entry, things like that, filing, all that. Marketing is doing your email marketing, going out and networking and placing ads, different things like that. Sales is answering the phone and making those sales presentations. So what you want to do is you want to start there on the bottom row, so that you fill that up, and all you're doing at that point is managing. Then those people, and this is what I did in my first company. That company does several $1 million a year. I have 34 employees over there.
I honestly did not know that.
I never even go there. Have you ever been in my office?
No.
Okay, so you should stop by there. So the thing is that we moved to this office so that Phenomenal Products could focus and be more creative and strategic, because there's a lot going on over there. And the only reason I didn't meet you over there is because of that. I would get involved with everybody there. It's a turnkey business. I don't have to be there. But when I do go there, it's like, Grandpa's in town, and
that's funny.
And so, Dad's here.
That's funny.
We haven't seen you in a while.
Let's go out to lunch.
Exactly. So anyway. So the point is that you delegate on the $10 an hour work, the $15 an hour work. You start there. Then what you do is make sure that you have what we call a PRD. It's kind of like a job description. And that they have a list of things that they're responsible for, and that you have policies and procedures on how those are done. And then you have to train them. You don't just like the mistake that managers and leaders make is they just say, "Hey, go handle this. Can you handle that for me?"
That's exactly right.
You got to train people. You got to show them what to do, tell them what to do. Watch them do it. Make sure that they got it before you release them.
One of the things I talk about there is it's delegate versus abdicate.
That's right.
And the point that I think you're making, one of them is a lot of people fall into that second bucket, abdicating, which is, here it is, just go do it. And it's not anything I really want to do, but, and if it doesn't work out, then I have a problem.
Well, what's worse is they say, I'm going to just find this superstar guy or gal and get a manager to run this thing for me, and I'll have a turnkey business. It's too much for one person if you're going to have a phenomenally successful business. So you got to have key people in different areas. Like at that business, I have 3 directors. I have one who handles the marketing and sales. I have one that handles the operations. And one that handles the administration. And then they have people that work underneath them. But I have 3 directors. And so I only have to interact with 3 people at that company.
That's awesome. And people who are, before they get to your level, one of the things that I actually do is I recommend that people do, delegating that $10 an hour deal. I'll use companies like Fiverr to do just even stupid stuff. Like, I say stupid, but like stuff that you don't have to be doing. You know what I mean? Fiverr, I use that. I tell you what I did that I have to say I'm proud of myself. I'm going to give myself, I hired somebody from the Philippines.
Nice.
I did.
A VA?
Yes.
Good.
I had an assistant a few years ago, and then the economy hit and we had to let her go, unfortunately. And then we got like super efficient, didn't need one for a while, and then we needed one back. And I said, you know what? I've been hearing about offshore. I mean, I'm sure everyone has. I was like, let me just try it.
Sure. Good.
So I went through a company called Remote Workmate, and they allowed me to be able to, I got somebody from the Philippines. And what people ask me, well, what do you have them do? My social media, publishing my newsletter. I have him do stuff with my podcasting. I have him upload video. I have him I'm having him post blogs for me, transcript. I mean, the whole thing. And that takes time. I feel great.
Well, it is. Technology makes it so much easier to do that kind of stuff. I have a young lady who does a lot of that kind of stuff, edits my books, and that sort of thing, that lives in South Texas. I have one who works in Dallas. We have a guy who answers our phones for us in Minnesota.
Wow.
And so I had a lady for years who could not leave her house. She was just, her circumstances were that she was homebound. And she made outbound calls for us.
That's
all she
business.
did, 20 hours a week, is just calling past clients. So there's so many little things like that on that bottom row that you can outsource. 20 hours here, 20 hours there. Which, if you're effective with your time and you have a good marketing system that's bringing in enough business, you continue to grow, and you don't have to have this superstar full-time person, right? But what's going to happen is you hire people down there, then they become managers, then they become directors.
That's awesome. I got a couple more questions here for us, and then we'll wrap up. We talked about outsourcing, we talked about employees and things like that. A big thing that comes up for our listeners and viewers is interruptions. All right. They are just besieged by interruptions. I have an answer to that, but I'd love to hear because what I have found is every successful person that I know, I can't say that it's everybody, because the ones I personally come into contact with, they seem to have some idea, they have a game plan for that. I'm thinking you do too. What's your deal?
I've got a total game plan for it, but my answer to that might surprise you. The reason that we fail to implement, the reason that we allow ourselves to be interrupted, the reason that all of this occurs is because we have a lack of vision.
Interesting.
Okay? The thing is that if your business exists for one reason only, and that is to be a vehicle to help you achieve your life goals, then what's your life goal? What's your dream? I just finished my 6th book, which is going to be published in the next few months. It's called Discover Your Phenomenal Dream. And what I found is that business owners, most people today, don't really know how to dream. I mean, in America, the most free, the land of opportunity.
Home of the free, land of the brave.
Yeah, I mean, still. And we have a problem dreaming. I mean, really? Seriously? So the thing
First world problem right there, right?
Yeah. I mean, so if you don't wake up with a compelling vision of where you're going, where you want what your life to look like, and how that business interacts with that, you're going to get distracted. Because the fact is that
interesting.
Doing email, doing Facebook, which we all can get that gives you a dopamine rush. It makes you feel good.
Interesting.
Right? But the thing that I got to stay focused on, and I talk about vision boards and all that kind of stuff, is that what's that vision that's going to compel me to do the hard work, to stay focused and just grind it out every day.
That's interesting. Darren Hardy, Success Magazine, and I know you've had him come in
Yeah.
before, Darren Hardy.
I know Darren.
And one of the points I was listening to, he's got this little daily deal with Darren.
Daily Darren.
Yeah, right. And I was listening to one of them, and is either on the program I was listening to or on one of those. I don't remember. But it was definitely Darren, and he was talking about the idea of the big 3 goals, where he says you put down what you want your big 3 are, which is, maybe it's more speaking engagements, and maybe it's got to be something specific. And, maybe it's more X, Y, and Z. And then he said that there's this 4th quadrant, according to the story, he calls the devil's vortex. And that's everything else. That's email. That's Facebook. That's LinkedIn. That's all this busy work that, to your point, is an adrenal rush, but really isn't meeting your overall goals. And I think where a lot of people derail themselves, I define interruptions as an outside in. I'm interrupted by somebody else. I define derailment as inside out. I derail myself by going onto Facebook, right? I interrupt myself. Okay. And I think a lot of times what happens is we get into the situation, it's Will Rogers, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. But when you're focused on your big 3, using Darren's points, then using your vision too, you don't find yourself, like if you're really looking forward to going to lunch, do you get interrupted? When you're having some ice cream, or when you're going to the movies with your wife, do you get interrupted sometimes?
I like that analogy. If you're hungry, there's nothing that's going to stop. I might have to borrow that. Does that vision make you hungry for success?
You know what I mean?
Because that's the thing is that's what most people don't have. What's at the end of all of this? Right. And so you have to have a purpose. And the fact of the matter is, when we become successful, we become financially successful. We can get comfortable. And what gets me up every morning at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning,
I hear that,
writing books and delegating and doing all the things I do, working on my projects. The fact is that what drives me is my purpose, and that purpose is to help small business owners have more life. To enjoy time with their family, to not be a slave to that business anymore. And when Darren spoke at my conference, he said success is just true grit, just grinding it out. But we're not going to grind it out unless we have something that's pulling us, something that's driving us.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I got to tell you guys, Howard's a living example of this. Like I said, we met a little while back, and you've been nothing but nice with me. And it's true. And it's really been great. So you are, in my mind, a living testament to exactly what you're talking about, because people think of success as this one-dimensional, I'm going to get mine. Right? That's how we like to think of success in this country. I'm going to get my money, I'm going to get my house, I'm going to get my car, I'm going to get my business, whatever the case is. But success really is a conversation about having and impacting multiple people and using your business as a vehicle to further that goal. And when you start thinking like that, then I think success becomes more natural.
Well, if you notice, the foreword to this book is done by Tom Ziglar, who's the proud son of Zig Ziglar. Zig's favorite quote till the day he passed away was, you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what it is that they want.
I love that.
And the fact is that you can.
Yes.
You can. You can have everything in life. What do people want? They want to be happy, they want to be healthy, they want to be reasonably prosperous, they want to have good family relationships, they want to have friends, they want to have peace, they want to have hope for the future, they want to be secure. You can have all of that if you help enough. So maybe we have to help some more employees. Maybe we have to help some more clients. Maybe we have to help some more people like you. I'm helping you. You're helping me right now.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I think, just to go spiritual just for a second, I think that's what they talk about in the Bible, right? They're talking about that spirituality. They're talking about that idea of givers. Dr. Meisner talks about giver's gain, B&I. So it's the idea, everybody says the same thing. Put it in and you get back out.
Well, it's like I used to tell Zig, if we're going to go that route, what I used to tell Zig is, you stole that from Jesus. Because Jesus said, give and it'll be given back to you. He says, well, that'll be okay because I know him personally. I mean, the man just had wit, So.
Well, let me ask one more question here at the end. And this is a kind of a business question for you. I always ask all of my folks this. You've been in business for quite some time, and I know that we've got some people who are just starting out, maybe trying to get organized. If you could go back in a time machine, and knowing what you know now, If you could go back and tell Howard 1.0 when he was first getting started in whatever business you want, what would you go back in the time machine? What message would you give your younger, earlier, less experienced self based on maybe some experience that you've picked up over the many years that you've been in business?
I would say learn the business skills, learn marketing, learn sales, learn finance. I would go by Warren Buffett's rule. He has 3 rules: never lose money, never lose money, and never lose money.
Don't lose money.
And you know, I was all about the lifestyle, and I put everything on credit cards, got my business in debt and all of that. Once I got focused on making a profit and putting those financial systems in place, everything got so good. And if I'd done that earlier, I would have become a better leader. So again, the 5 secrets, the 5 systems: leadership, learn marketing, learn sales, learn systems, you know, learn the tracking piece of the financial part of the business. You know, most small business owners, they know their technical craft
Gerber,
very
stuff
well.
like that.
And that's what Michael said in the email. But they're not entrepreneurs, they're not business owners, they don't have the business skills. So study, become a student of business.
One of the things I always like to say is if you want to get more, you need to be more first. Okay? And if you want to get more, all 6 of those things that you mentioned before, relationships, money, stuff like that, you have to be the type of person who can attract that into your life. And I think a lot of times in this country, for whatever reason, I think we have this get and individualistic, and I'm going to get more, and I'm going to figure out how to get more. Really, if you be more, you be the type of person that's you know, generating wealth. You be the type of person who's wealthy in spirit. You be the type of person who people want to be around. You know what happens, and I know you know this, that kind of stuff happens. So it is awesome. It is awesome. Howard, tell them real quick on where we talked about your book. Let's bring that up again. This is which I've got a copy of now. That's actually my copy, by the way.
That's exactly right.
Tell them a little bit about where they can find a little bit about you and maybe your website. Oh, look at that. I didn't know that you signed it. That's nice.
Brian is phenomenal.
Where can we find you guys?
HowardPartridge.com. And when you go to HowardPartridge.com, you'll get some free resources. On that site, you'll get on my email list. We'll teach you the principles of business. We'll invite you to our conferences and those kinds of things. And of course, you can go on Amazon and get all my books. I'll have I've got 5 published books right now.
That's awesome.
6 and 7 coming down the pike.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's Howard Partridge, guys. My name is Brian Hilliard, saying so long, take care, and thank you for your time. All right, that was really good, Howard.
Awesome.
That was really good. That was awesome. That was awesome. And let's see. Yeah, it was.